Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It's the mainframe here, Nile, Scala with POPXP. Joining me tonight for our Crowdfunding Comics episode every Tuesday is the talented, majestic, mystical Mr. Frank Amazing. Frank, how are we doing tonight, brother?
Good. How are you doing, Nile?
Dude, I'm pumped, man. It's another week. Shows lined up. We got great creators that you've been lining up, and I have to say, man, you know, you're very passionate about crowdfunding. You're passionate about indie creators. I mean, you're supporting Indiegogos, Kickstarters left and right.
Yep.
And you know, it's really starting to show. You know, for those that don't know, Frank has pretty much taken over Crowdfunding Comics. You know, all of us here at POPXP, you know, Brian Blevins, you know, Dr. Blevins there, Billy, myself, we're all starting to kind of take our own lead on each show as we're building different shows on this channel, as well as possibly bringing in some other creators to have their shows on this channel. But I do give you kudos, my friend, for really researching, communicating well, and getting such amazing creators. I've been seeing such positive feedback today on Twitter.
Yeah, I know.
So great. I think some people think, you know, we get great mainstream guests. We have all this awesome stuff going on, and that, you know, maybe we don't need as much help as some other stuff, but we do. We're working just as hard. You know, this is basically a non-profit thing, really. You know, we just kind of do it because we love it. And we love boosting that signal for indie creators, especially. You know, I can't say though we don't love getting to talk to like Kevin Eastman and these guys that inspired us, you know, but yeah, man, kudos to you. My hat is off. We have some great creators tonight. And I mean, if you don't mind, Frank, I mean, who do we have on the show this evening?
Yeah, so first off is Justin Dutton with his first campaign, Unstitched Part 1 of 2. And then after that is Stephen J. Mitchell he's got a really great story, and even though it's not per se a comic or crowdfunding comic, you know, it's on Amazon and it's called Bulletproof. So it's a young adult book. And then finally, at the end of our story, Princess Star Thief. This is by Jason Martin. I tweeted him out a while ago when he was doing Swiss Army Woman. So it's really great to get him on the show this time. So this is his third campaign. So we'll talk about this and, you know, maybe see where he is with, you know, Swiss Army Woman too.
Cool. Awesome, man. So without further ado, let's introduce our first guest tonight. And we have Justin Dutton with Unstitched 1 of 2. Justin, welcome to the show, Mr. Dutton.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, man. And you know, you're no stranger. You know, we've seen a lot of your stuff on Twitter. You know, we follow each other. So this is really cool to finally get to talk to you, you know, put a face to the name, to the imagery that we see. And man, we got to start from the beginning, man. I need your origin story. How did you get into comic books?
I got into comic books like most people do at a young age. The 90s, like TV shows also helped with like Spider-Man and X-Men on definitely like helping me sink that in. And when my older cousin had a babysit me, his friend had comics. So he would just be like, here, don't say anything what we're doing later to your parents. Read these. And I'm like, okay.
Awesome.
So I got bribed with comics as a kid.
That's a good bribe. That's a good bribe. My sister used to do stuff like that to me too. Like I look back on it and it was like really horrible comics. Like I think one might have been like a Barbie comic, but I'm like, it's a comic.
I actually found like Sunday some of the old comics. I had like a Kazar from like Mark Waid Kazar, like 2 SKUs. One of them, because it's been in the garage, doesn't even have the cover anymore. It's just straight book.
Yeah. Hey, that means it was read. That means it was loved.
Yeah.
It was.
It was read a lot.
What was your favorite comics growing up? Like, what were you reading?
So a lot of like Bones actually comes to mind when I was a kid. Then, you know, X-Men, 90s X-Men was kind of, especially with the whole cartoon, watching that.
Oh, yeah.
So you wanted to be like, all right, I want to get my Spider-Man, I want to get my X-Men, and then Saturday mornings I want to watch the cartoon.
Yeah. Who's your favorite X-Men? From the cartoon. Let's say from the cartoon. That kind of narrows it.
Yeah.
It's still Nightcrawler.
Yes.
Ooh.
That's a good one. You know, not too many people pick Nightcrawler. You know, and I'm one of them because they're like, who's it? I'm like, Cyclops. Why? Because he's a leader and he shoots lasers out of his head. Like, her eyes, if you want to get specific.
Yeah.
See, most people go, oh, you know, Wolverine. I'm like,
Wolverine.
yeah, he's like the antithesis of running with scissors.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Nah, but those cartoons were great. And I mean, those 90s comics, man, I mean, it all started to kind of flow together. Like you could tell they were starting, you know, there was some crossover things. They were continuing some stories and stuff. But that was a great time for X-Men, I think.
Oh, yeah. Especially like Jim Lee, because I still remember it was a comic he wouldn't let me like keep, but borrow. And it was like, I think it was the 90s where Magneto is ripping the metal out of Wolverine, and I was like, yes, so dope. And it was seeing that, I was like, I want to do that for a living. Yeah,
man. So let me ask you, like, what was your first, I'm sure like most of us when we were kids, I'm sure you went and were doing your own comics as a kid, you know, folding the paper in half, trying to staple it to get it to be like a comic, but never quite getting it right. And, you know, drawing and writing. I mean, what's your favorite part of making a comic book?
All right. So because I'm more of a writer than I am an artist, because I can do stills, but sequentials is a whole nother beast. So, you know, hats off to everyone who can. I have to say, as a writer, it's just when you first get art back from your artist, like the pages, because then you go, okay, it's not just words on a laptop or words on like a piece of paper. This is now becoming a comic once you get like that first page.
Yeah.
It's like Christmas every time I get new pages.
Yeah. What's it like? Let me ask you a question. I mean, for you, you know, and we're talking, you know, you're talking right now about, you know, sending your words to an artist, and now they're depicting that in the images that you're hoping they can translate, right? What's it like to actually see that image, right, in your mind that you wrote down, to actually see an artist convey that visually?
Man, like I said, it's like Christmas every time.
Have you ever been disappointed though? Like, he didn't get it or she didn't get it.
All right. So like, I think maybe one page, and it was like one panel. I was like, ooh, this panel right here, which, you know, when she sends it, she does, you know, kind of like the line art and stuff. And she's a digital artist, so it makes it a little bit easier than if it was like a traditional pencil. Traditional pencil, I would be like, oh God, no, I think I'll just take this bad panel. But with the digital, you know, it makes it a little bit easier. And we've done a few tweaks here and there on things, but there was just one panel that was just like, we were definitely not on the same page. But she always goes, hey, any suggestions, whatever, fixes. So, you know, typically she gives me 3 pages a week. I tell her like whatever needs to be fixed. Most of it's minor things. Then, you know, she fixes them, sends them to me. I gives a thumbs up, and then she'll color them the next week. And like we do the same process over. Like, all right, so I think this color is too close to this color, so it blends. So, you know, maybe do this to pop it out more. Mostly, it's all minor stuff.
Now, before we actually start showing off the book and everything, this is a very stylized book. Like, it definitely has its own style. And the way I was looking at, who was I talking to today? Oh, I was talking to Billy earlier today. Oh, and he apologized. He was going to pop on this stream, but him and Deb are going through some final print proofs or something for the campaign for one of the stretch goals or something. If he can pop on, he will. But anyways, I was explaining to him because, you know, I was talking about it. I said, yeah, man, I was like, you and I, man, we love stylized work, like things that really stand out. I was like, I look at this stuff, right, and I'm going through Unstitched. I'm like, this is like a little kid's like nightmare. Like it looks like innocent and sweet and scary at the same time. And I was like, this is brilliant. How did you find this artist and like look at her style and be like, this is what I'm looking for?
All right, so I'm part of an amazing Facebook group, just a whole pool of talent called Comic Creators Seeking Opportunities.
Part of that as well.
Yep. You put paid gig and about the amount of length, you're going to get flooded for weeks. But I had about $4,000 saved up. I said, hey, this is going to be a paid gig. I have, this is about how many pages I want. Mm-hmm. And the theme is it's going to be a dark fantasy with a little bit of horror elements for children. And the art style I'm looking for is similar to Scotty Young. Okay. Because I knew I wanted, something very, very bright at times, but can kind of go odd and creepy. So when you do post an ad, something like that, if you have an artist in mind, say like something like this style, because there were some people that were doing, hey, here's something that looks like Todd McFarlane drew a skull eating brains. And you're like, that's really cool. It's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. So, since I kind of just brought this up, I think it's fair that I show this off to everyone. So let's check it out. So here it is on Indiegogo live right now. Unstitched Part 1 of 2, Protect the Light, Protect the Child, Fend Off the Darkness. This is your first campaign on Indiegogo. And you're at 57% funded. You have 4 days left, but you will be extending this campaign. And before we get too into it, I'm going to play the video for everyone.
Fear takes form in the darkness. The darkness feeds off screams. Fear is the enemy of childhood wonderment, built on hopes and dreams. So remember, in the terror of night, to protect the child, protect the light. Try not to become unstitched.
Hi, I'm Dutton, writer and creator of Unstitched. It's a brand new story that was created by inspiration of my niece, my love of 80s, like dark, gritty Don Bluth films. And in fact, that's what Unstitched is. It is a dark fantasy, all ages story. It's a mix of Rise of the Guardians, Toy Story, and Coraline, all put together. I have a talented, wonderful artist named Laura Rimbas-Humbert. She's even doing one of the covers. The other cover is a variant done by the highly talented Jason Brubaker. You know him from Mind, from Sithra, plenty of other things. Unstitched, part 1 of 2 is coming out soon. It's going to be 48 pages, with part 2 being 50-some pages. Later on, we got some cool tiers with the book. Besides just getting 1 or 2 covers, you can either get this as a poster. This original art piece will also be for sale. And if you don't get the poster, this will also be the back cover as well. We have mini print that's going to be on the higher tiers, like the 150 tier, which this is going to be a teddy bear based off the Boogeyman with the glow-in-the-dark eyes, limited to 10. You get both covers, this poster, and a mini print.
All right, guys, you have now seen details of the inside of this book. And you see this right here? This needs to be 100% funded ASAP because this is freaking insane. Dude, this looks so cool. And this is all ages, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, oh, man. Guys and gals out there, let's get on this. Let's spread the word because I think we've got a gem sitting here that really needs to freaking get out there and shine. Dude, this looks incredible. I mean, the art alone, I mean, we can only really speak on the art, obviously. But I mean, if your story's, you know, even half as good as how this art looks, bro, I mean, this thing's going to be insane.
Thank you. The best part is all 48 pages of art are already completed.
Nice.
That's incredible.
That's important.
So I mean, so your fulfillment should be pretty quick then, or on time, I should say.
Yeah. All the art's completed. And Eric Weathers the most busiest man in crowdfunding comics, for sure. And definitely the letter in chief in CG, and he's doing the letters, and he's done 21 so far, and just need a few tweaks here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what made you decide on these perks?
So mostly a lot of it had to do with I want to do like something really cool for people. So the Dreamer tier gives you both covers, fold out poster and a mini print. And I see, they're kind of like the standard 48 pages, about $25. And when it comes to me on covers, I really enjoy the old school, more like Jack Kirby type covers where the cover itself tells you a story.
Yeah.
So you get almost like a trailer, in a weird way, a trailer on a paper, on a book of the story where you go, okay, I want to know what is happening. So, with Laura's cover, you have like Eleanor, the girl, and the teddy facing down all the bad guys. Jason Brubaker did an amazing cover. And then we have the Big Dreamer tier, which gives you a cool limited teddy bear, because I wanted something that just definitely makes, over the top stand out.
Yeah.
We have a retail bundle, which I think is the most generous retail bundle you're going to see in crowdfunding, period. You're going to get 6 books, 3 of each cover, 6 mini prints that's going to go in the back of the backing board, and I'm offering full returnability and buyback.
Okay.
So for a local comic shop, that is all reward and no risk. I have a children's hospital bundle, which
that's awesome.
So 6 books of Laura's cover will go to Children's Hospital like St. Jude's, Ronald McDonald's, organizations like that. And any profit made will also be donated to that charity as well.
That's great, and that's something you don't see a lot of. I mean, we know that there are people, awesome that donate, that have a tier where you can donate. But yours specifically going to a children's hospital, I don't think we've really seen. And, it is important, especially, if they're being secluded due to being in the hospital. What a great story to give them.
Yep. And I mean, the major themes is Unstitch having courage to go, basically go against fear. And honestly, like, if a kid's in a children's hospital, they're having a rough time. So if I can hopefully provide a story that gives them a little bit of, extra courage to fight, then, so be it. But I just want kids to also be like entertained in a situation like that. Just kind of forget that they're in that situation, even if it's for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you mentioned earlier that this is kind of inspired by your niece.
Yes. So when I told family members, like, hey, I finally got money saved up, I'm gonna do a comic. At the time, my niece was about 1.5, almost 2, and my sister's like, well, you have a niece now. You should do something for her. She likes reading and having books read too. I was like, but I have scripts already made and they are not kid friendly. She's like, you should do it because you love me. And I was like, peer pressure. And then more family was like, oh, you're doing a comic? It'd be cool if you did something for your niece. So my sister contacted everyone. So I kind of got bullied into it, but I really enjoy this story. The little girl is actually designed after my niece and named after her as well. So my niece is 3 and she doesn't quite get it all because I've shown her pages and she's like, okay, and then goes plays with Barbies. But maybe in like a couple of years she'll go, oh, well, I got a comic made.
This is me in the comic. So now with this book, now is this your first published comic, or have you done other stuff prior to crowdfunding?
This will actually be my first published comic, but because I know I am new at it, I wanted to make sure that I can ease as many people's worries as possible. That is why all of the art is complete.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you a question now. So this is your first run. So let's get in a little bit of our tips section of your interview. While we've got you for another 7 minutes. What have you learned? Or actually, let's start off with this. How did you go about researching how to start a campaign?
A lot of it. All right, so with like the CG crowd, they're very open on, and they have a lot of YouTube videos of how they've done stuff, and then kind of seeing what has worked for them, what's failed, and as a backer and fan myself, going, okay, well, these are all obvious pitfalls that I see as well. Tardiness being like the biggest one, which is why I tackled with going with all the art done. And when we launched on June 18th, we were on our last 4 pages. And like a lot of, you can go on YouTube and there's just so many channels that go, hey, here's printers I recommend. Here's how to a bunch of how-to videos, and just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
now,
then,
did you
don't know anyone, just ask.
Yeah, exactly. So did you look for how-to videos? Were you looking for certain creators did you actually reach out to them and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. What's your thoughts on this process, or what should I do? What shouldn't I do?
Yes. I think like maybe 4 or 5 creators I know I reached out to. And then others, kind of, I was like, hey, what's some great advice? Like John Malin was like, it was like, make sure you have a YouTube video channel. Then you have others like, have a mailing list, build that mailing list. As long as it takes, build that mailing list. Go on other people, build it. And anyone who was on the mailing list for Unstitched will be getting an extra print for free. That is exclusive to those that were on the mailing list at back.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That's great. Now, what have you learned has been the most crucial part? So the best advice you can give someone, right? So what would be the most crucial part you've learned that's like, you have to do this to succeed?
You have to be friendly. Like, don't burn bridges that you don't need to, or try not to at all. And then other thing is, when you're friendly, you can make networks. You can go on other YouTube videos, because every channel that I've been on, I've seen a bump in sales. And you have to realize, make friends. Go on other people's videos. Ask them, and the main thing is ask people. Like, hey, I have a cool looking book. What do you think? Show them pages. Because next thing you know, they're sharing on Facebook, they're retweeting on Twitter. I've had a few go, hey, I just want to do a spotlight on this book real quick on their channel. I think it looks cool. So definitely just be friendly to other people out there, other creators. And when it comes to the timetables, I mean, our book is considered late for my initial thing, but in October, my artist had a health condition. She was in the hospital for like 2.5 months. But at that time, I was building a mailing list. So I was like, all right, we're not going to launch when I wanted to. And I had like pre-planned when we were just kind of building pages and nothing was quite live yet. So it's knowing, stuff like that. But if I was live and if I was funding stuff, be open with people as well. Just be like, hey, don't want to go into too much detail as my artist is in the hospital. We're recovering, but obviously we're losing like a month or 2 of work. So there's going to be delays.
Well, we're glad. It sounds like she's recovered and she's back at it, which we're glad to hear, because I mean this looks beautiful. I mean, I'm going to scroll through this again, and look, guys, this is achievable. You do your research. Reach out, just like Justin has said. Don't be afraid to ask. Right. The worst scenario is someone just doesn't reply back. Answer. Yeah. I mean, again, Justin, I have to say this is. For me personally, we review a lot of these crowdfunding projects and stuff. There's a lot of great stuff out there. Your style in the book really does capture me. and I really do enjoy the visuals. Will you be adding any updates when you extend this?
Yes.
To put some of the script in a little bit, add some of the.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. We're going to be basically re-uploading these first 6 pages with text added in.
Some dialogue. Excellent.
Yep.
Any secrets down the way? You don't have to say what it is, but will you be adding anything to this campaign if it starts to pick up in sales?
Yes, actually, I have another raffle because I did a 48-hour backer raffle on the Jason Brubaker cover, where we're going to do a foil print on that, and we have already done the raffle, and backer ID has already been announced, and that's going to be given to them for free, just added on to their stuff. And the only way I'm going to re-raffle is if they refund their purchase. But if I hit 100 backers, which I'm 50 away, I'm going to be doing and I'm going to draw it, not Laura, unfortunately. So it won't be quite as stylized as what she can do, but I'm going to be doing a sketch as well, and be giving it to another lucky backer.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Get a original sketch from the author. Can't go wrong with that. And Steph Wilson just posted that he backed Unstitched.
Oh, thank you.
Steph.
Fantastic. Steph's, if you're familiar with Steph Wilson, he's another great creator. He's a fantastic artist. He's starting to really hit a lot of the crowdfunded books out there, doing variant covers and such. But yeah, man, we've got some great feedback on your stuff. Skits, comics. Hey, Justin, we love Unstitched.
Oh yeah, they got one of the bears.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Oh, hey,
Yes.
I want to throw that up to the camera.
Yeah.
You mind? That's awesome. Who's making this?
Glow in the Dark, and this is actually done by a buddy from college. She has her own custom stuffed animal website called the Happy Rabbit Tree on Facebook.
Awesome.
And she mostly does like stuffed rabbits, like ragdoll rabbits, but they're done in like superhero cosplay outfits. And I asked if she could do a bear, and she was like, absolutely. And just fantastically, I love the back, because our boogeyman creature, which you kind of see right there, leaping at our hero Teddy, he's like the darkness's evil Teddy.
Yeah.
He's bigger, he's meaner, and all the other Teddies that he goes to unstitch, because he's that like Darth Vader enforcer role. He basically then takes any unstitched Teddy and puts them on his back, like, and wears them as a pelt.
Oh, wow.
So, like I said, it's kid friendly in colors and stuff, but when you have stuff like that,
like, man.
And that's where we went, Tar.
Oh my god. Oh, we got a.
Hey, like I said, I grew up watching Don Bluth films. Like,
Yeah.
how dark was The Secret of Nim?
Secret of Nim was
True,
freaky.
man. That was freaky. That was freaky. I like that though. It's just like, I don't adds them. That's freaking insane, man. That's insane. You want to just give a little shout out? We've got Gem Mint Collectibles in the house. If you guys haven't, check out Gem Mint Collectibles on YouTube. He's growing. Some great content. Awesome, down to earth creator. So head over there to Gem Mint Collectibles and subscribe to his channel if you're not already. I keep hitting this thing. What? Holy smokes!
Nile's button happy.
I'm button happy. I just realized if you hit the space bar, it popped up the comment. Interesting. There's some hotkeys, fellas. Well, anyways, Justin, if you can, how can everyone stay in touch with what you're doing? Where can they follow you on social media?
On Twitter at Justin Dutton 18, and then you can look me up at Justin Dutton on Facebook.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Justin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I've seen your comments in the past. I'm glad, you're a fan of the show and what we do. Glad that you're now getting out there, starting to get published. And really, man, keep us in the loop with what you're doing. If you need to get that signal boost out again, get in touch with us. Frank, handles a lot of the promoting on social media. So we'll continue to share your project periodically throughout the coming weeks. We wish you all the best. Keep us posted. And everyone, seriously, this is awesome. I'm going to run through this one more time. I mean, look at this art. I'm going to go full screen on this here. Look at this art. I mean, this is incredible. This truly is a nice stylized comic. I mean, there's nothing like this out there current.
And then, I mean, my featured tier is like one of the best bargains. $55, you're going to get both covers, a fold-out poster, and a mini print.
Yeah, this just looks incredible, man. And you've got some great talent on here. And man, you did a great job picking your artist, I have to tell you, dude.
Yes.
And
like she popped out just out of everyone, out of like 200 people. I was like, this one. I don't care what she costs. I want this one.
Please help share this, spread the word. If it's not your cup of tea, hey, remember we're here to help fellow indie creators and help boost the signals. But this is definitely a gem, and I think this is really, man, you need to be funded. You're 60%, right? We got to get that other 40. We got to get you funded. This looks amazing. This definitely, I will definitely be backing this because I'm really curious now in the story because I love this art so much. I will be backing this myself tonight. And guys, share it on your Twitter, your Facebook. If you can, shoot a signal boost out there. Get this out there. And you know what? Share the show tonight. Let people know what kind of talent we have on Crowdfunding Comics episodes. You know, we're bringing in the best of the best and getting these people out there. So again, Justin, thank you so much for coming on the show. Can't wait to have you back on again when you've got part 2 of 2 out. And good luck with everything, my friend.
Thank you. Have a good one, man.
You too, man. Have a great night.
Thank you, Justin.
Wow. Again, dude, you know me, and that art has got me blown away.
Yeah.
I love that style. And you know, I do get into a lot of these campaigns. I really want to see indie creators, you know, be successful and do things and help spread the word. Tips. What are you learning? What are you not learning? How do you get your artists? How do you do things? Because so many people have the anxiety over this, right? Like, how do I get this out? How do I do this? And, you know, it's just great to see these things. But, you know, we got to help boost, you know, such incredible talent. Definitely a share-worthy campaign. Yeah. And then, you know, now we got our second guest, Stephen Mitchell, in the house tonight. We're going to be bringing him on. Now, Stephen has a novel out, Bulletproof, and this is cool, man. You know, as we're expanding, you know, we went from just strictly crowdfunding comics to the POPXP. Now we're really trying to expand the media we have on here and different types of creators. And now we're going to be interviewing for a creator who's an author who's done a novel. So without further ado, let's please introduce Stephen Mitchell to the show. Stephen, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Man, we're doing great tonight. Glad to have you on. You're our first author interview for a novel, which is
all right.
And, you know, just so everyone knows, I mean, we'd love to get to know you. And what I'd love to start off with, if you're not too familiar with the show, is I like to get into everyone's origin stories. How did you get into doing what you're doing today?
This goes back all the way to when I was like 15, 16 years old, and I was writing stories in notebooks with a pen with a friend of mine and my brother. We would just like hand the notebook off to each other, just like we'd write a chapter, hand it off, and they'd write a chapter, and you know, eventually we'd fill up a notebook, throw it aside, and we'd pick up another notebook and just write a whole nother story. And my buddy and I, we used to take apart G.I. Joes and reassemble them and repaint them to make our own characters. And that's kind of like the origin story of the character that's in my novel, Bulletproof. Mm-hmm. So it goes way back.
Wow. How far back are we talking? Can we disclose that information?
We're probably talking somewhere 1990.
Okay. Now the biggest question is, you're taking apart G.I. Joes, right? You're building this character. What happened to the elastics inside them?
Okay, so you unscrew the back, and then inside there's a little rubber band that connects the legs to the chest piece. And it was like attached to like a little hook. And so you just save it. We had a bucket full of parts.
That's awesome. That is freaking awesome. So you have your novel. So is this your first novel?
Yeah, this is my first standalone novel. I do have a couple published works and some anthologies, but this is my first standalone story.
So let's take a look at this. So we've got Bulletproof, and you can get this on Amazon. I'm not. You can correct me if there's other areas, other sites or stores they can purchase this from. But this is Bulletproof. This came out in 2019, so I mean this hasn't been out, too long. I mean, what's it like having your novel out there?
It's surreal. It's this is something that I've like really strived for. It's just been a lifelong dream of mine to be a published author. And let me tell you, it was so exciting when it first got released. And even before that, when I was just going through the back and forth with my editor, RJ Carter, we were just like, just that process alone just made it feel so real as we were getting closer to launch date. And then when it happened, I was literally staring and just like refreshing because I wanted to see the numbers. I mean, I wasn't going to be the next Stephen King or J.K. Rowling, but in my opinion, like just seeing like just a quick little spike of one book. Oh my God, I sold a book. Like that's exciting to me. Yeah. So
now, can you walk us through the process of, getting published as an author? We kind of delve into the comic book realm, and sometimes people think it's easy to, just start a Kickstarter, but how is that for a novel?
Novels getting published it's not easy. It's not easy. A lot of publishing houses don't take solicitations from authors, so you have to go find yourself an agent, and then it's up to the agent out of thousands of agents to say, yeah, I like the story. I'll buy it and I'll pitch it. Now they've got to find the right publishing house that'll take it. So it's almost like you have to go through two channels of acceptance. And there's the market is so flooded with material out there. Wow. So it's really difficult to break in, but I was fortunate enough to be friends with my editor, RJ Carter, who is published, and he was getting into a publishing, like a small independent publishing branch of his enterprise. And Critical Blast, they just kind of opened up to me and said, we'll publish your story. So I was very fortunate. I kind of backdoored my way in, but it's a struggle because there's a lot of competition out there, and you have to impress, that 1 in 1,000 agents to like what you're writing.
Now, do you have to actually go there and like pitch it to them, or is that something your manager does when you hire that person?
Well, you're as an author, when you complete your manuscript, you're sending emails out to agents and you're pitching it to them. You're giving them your elevator pitch, and hopefully it doesn't end up in the slush pile and just to get ignored, or and I went through probably close to 25, 30 rejections, and I basically just folded up my laptop and I was like, okay, I got to step away from this because like it's very defeating. But again, I had the fortunate luck of knowing my editor, and we had talked and we discussed my novel, and he really liked it. He thought it would be a great idea and a great opportunity to kind of launch his publishing arm of Critical Blast. So, we talked about it a lot and discussed the story, and he's been an amazing partner in this whole process. Mm-hmm. Stickler for detail, but very open-minded about plot devices.
Mm-hmm. Now, for your novel, I mean, you have it's almost like a graphic, like it almost appears like a graphic novel for someone that's just glancing through it quickly. How did you go about your cover design? Did you have say in that, or was it part of the publishing company?
Actually, I commissioned my own artist, Matt Flint. He's a very talented artist, and he does a lot of independent work and commissions on his own. And his art just blew me away. And because I've been a big fan of comic books my entire life, and this is the story has a very comic book feel to it. That's the kind of cover I wanted. And so me and Matt, we collaborated a lot on, kind of like what I was looking for. Mm-hmm. And what you see is like his first pitch. It was beautiful. I fell in love with his idea right off the bat. I just kind of gave him the details, like what I would like to see in the background, what I want him holding, and kind of like the main character's clothing. It needs to be tattered, not just because bullets are hitting him, but he comes from very modest means.
Mm-hmm. Now, can you give us, for the viewers out there, I mean, what is this story about, and why should they purchase this book?
So the story is about a freshman in high school who has attention problems. He's very scatterbrained, and he always tries to do the right thing, but a lot of times his mind and his heart are not aligned. Mm-hmm. So he often makes a lot of mistakes along the way. And he finds himself developing this power. He becomes indestructible or bulletproof. Doesn't know how, doesn't know why. It's explained in the prologue of the book. There's a nice setup to it. But as we follow him through the story, he just doesn't understand what's happening to him. But in the meantime, he's got to deal with a school bully. He's got to deal with the problems he causes in school, resulting his conflict with his dean. And he has to deal with an international terrorist that shows up that wants what he has. Mm-hmm. And there's just a lot of moving parts. And this is all going to be part of a series. So I drop a lot of hints and story elements that are foreshadowing things to come. So there's a lot of things going on, but that's perfect for the character because he's so scatterbrained. He moves from one thing to the next and barely asks a question. He just follows the trail of Reese's Pieces. And when he gets to a Skittle, he just shrugs it off, takes it, and keeps moving forward.
Oh, nice. Now, is this...
I want Skittles.
Yeah, no, I want Skittles. Now, is this an all-ages book?
Yeah. It's there are some pretty serious themes in it, and there's a few moments in there that are pretty intense. But I'm always kind of finding ways to keep the mood light. It's no different than if you're watching like a Disney show or a Nick show like Austin and Ally, and like they have some moments of drama, but they always throw in some levity to try to keep it light.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
Now, was your idea always to make it, like a young adult book?
I attempted to make it more of an adult style book, but I struggled writing that. It was a very difficult process because I wanted it to be fun. Mm-hmm. I wanted it to be relatable to the kids that are reading it. So I kind of like scaled it back a little bit on the serious tone, inserted some fun, and the character kind of grew out of that to a sense where he was just so flighty. It's almost like if the sidekick was the hero. And it really kind of came into its own as I shifted gears from something that was more for adults to something that a young adult could read, which in itself presented a challenge because, I mean, how many teens and young adults are like out there looking for books to read when there's video games, there's smartphones, there's social media, there's so many distractions. So I really wanted to try to create something that if a young reader gave this a shot, they would have a hard time putting it down because it moves so fast.
Mm-hmm. Now, with like today, you're talking about getting it in people's hands and whatnot. I see right now it's only available in a hardcover version. Will you guys be doing a Kindle version, digital version, to try to get it into more people's hands more quickly?
We've talked paperback, and we have discussed Kindle. Each one's going to be a process in itself because we have to. We have to like convert the files that we have to kind of like match that format. So that's way beyond my pay grade. As I know, we are discussing it. It is in discussions.
Yeah, no. You know why? Because that just clicked in my head when you're talking about getting into, to kids' hands, younger kids' hands. And, everyone's like, they're on their phones, they're on their tablets, right? So it's like, hey, what's another means of getting it to them? Instant gratification, right? In today's world, you click the Kindle version, You got the book. Unless you're like me or Frank, where we like to actually hold a book and get the papers wrinkled because we're holding through and holding the spine, open with one hand. But this is cool. I really like the concept of the story. And now you did mention and kind of hint at that there's more to this, that there will be other books coming out. What is the vision for this? How many books in this series?
Well, I've got this plotted out, probably 6 books. What I want to do though is I want to break it up into kind of like chapters. So like the first 3 books will be a chapter of a specific portion of Cody, who is the main character. It'll be a portion of his beginnings. This is kind of like an origins trilogy, and then I've got something developed for the next 3 books. As long as Critical Blast keeps publishing them, I'll keep writing them, and hopefully people will start enjoying them once word gets out and they start seeing that here's an independent author that has something that's entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there any samples out there for people to read a few pages of the book? I'm
not sure if Amazon has a preview. I know in a couple of the anthologies I'm in, there are preview pages that you can read through. I'm not sure if that's available for this one.
Mm-hmm. I know you had sent us just 2 of the pages here so people can see kind of the layout of the story. I read just these 2 pages. It's pretty good. Just that little bit. It's very well written. Very well written.
Yeah.
Kudos to you on that.
Thanks. That first chapter was really usually hits people pretty in a way that they just aren't expecting, because I set it up where that prologue really takes you into a deep dive of what's going to happen, and the prologue's probably the most serious and dark part of the entire book. So when you get into that first chapter and you first meet our main character Cody, there's something serious really happening to him, and he's really in his thoughts about it. But then I just kind of flip the switch to give you an idea of what the mood of the book is going to be, what the tone is, because it's not exactly what it seems. Because again, Cody's the type of character that gets in his own head. He gets lost in his own thoughts. He starts dreaming, and he's just a very relatable character for teenagers. Mm-hmm.
Now, you did mention that you're a fan of comics and stuff like that, growing up, and obviously all that. What would be, so perfect world, right? Perfect world. Where does this evolve into other mediums, or would you look at going into comics, or would you look at trying to do television or something? Is there some grand idea you have that you would just love to bring to fruition?
I would love to expand this. If you get an opportunity to read the book, you will see that the amount of action it's there. It could fill a 30-minute time slot. It could fill a comic book. I try to inject a lot of action because I myself get bored easily. So when I'm writing, I want things to happen, and that's very much in line with the character. The character's always looking for something to happen because he's so hyper. He's so scatterbrained, and I could see this becoming I visualize when I'm writing, and I visualize what that scene would look like as a panel in a comic book, and what the sequential art would look like. And who knows, maybe someday it could happen. I know that my artist Matt Flint, who did the cover, we've kind of had light conversations about it, but it's a little further down the road. I want to get the story established, and I'd really like to have it pick up steam and kind of gain an audience before I move to another medium.
My wife's gonna hate me tonight, Stephen, because not only have I backed an Indiegogo campaign, I'm going to be purchasing a book shortly when we transition guests, because $9.51 hardcover on Amazon. You can't beat the price. Yeah. And what you're telling me about the story, I'm the same way, man. I can get bored really easy. I like to have things moving, at certain pace, and I like my action. I like that. I like, the ups and downs that you get with a great story and feeling the characters. And you have me sold, man. I'm not going to lie. I am going to purchase this book. If it didn't show my personal information, I'd do it live right now. But no one needs to know where I live and all my other details, unless you want to send me fun stuff. I'm always down for stuff from people
Hey,
as long as it's not weird,
listen,
like used underwear or something. But then again, underwear is kind of expensive. So if I do wash it twice, then I'm probably good, right?
Wear it inside out.
Yeah.
Yeah, why
Front
not?
to back, inside out, front to back. It's just like from Big Hero 6.
Exactly. And Critical Blast is in the chat. If you are curious and you want to read, there is a sample chapter on their website. So let's watch Nile dox himself. I know, right? Thanks, TJ. There is a sample on there. So if you guys, want to read a sample for you, buy it. I recommend you do that. And you know what? We are still in this pandemic, man. And, great entertainment, escapism is what we're looking for. And, from the description on Amazon, from the 2 pages that I read, I mean, it really, I really am intrigued. I think this is a cool, fun story. And really, guys, I'm going to head to the, while I wait for my book to come, because it says I'm going to have it Thursday, July 16th. Prime, baby.
Yeah.
Prime. It's worth it. July 16th. We're going to have it in 2 days.
Hey,
I'll read it. And we'll do a review. We'll do a review on it,
I've got like 8 reviews on there. They're all 5 stars. I am looking for somebody to, hit me with some cold hard reality, because I know I'm not that good. But I mean, if the reviews keep coming in with 5 stars, then I'll take them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if these are all strangers, man, these are people that, found a really good book. I mean, yeah, you have all 5-star ratings on here.
It's just about exposure. More people need to see the book, Yeah. I really feel that, I mean, Stephen King's amazing, but I don't like his work. If I read a book of his, I probably wouldn't rate it 5 stars. I know I'm not perfect. I'm going to get those bad reviews, but those bad reviews will actually make me better. It'll actually make me think about what I'm writing and strive to work a little harder for that audience.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, we'll make it our first novel review. Ooh. How many pages in total? I know I could scroll down and look, but I'm lazy. How many pages in total is the book?
Let's see here. We're looking at 206 pages. 206 pages of story.
Oh,
for $9.90.
Oh, look at that! You got a dust jacket, everything. I mean, that looks great.
Yeah. Yep.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it's good quality. Good quality.
Yeah. Now, are you going to be hitting any more? Try to get on some more podcasts and shows and promote the book.
Yeah, it's been difficult with the pandemic, as you had mentioned earlier. A lot of people, I kind of scaled back my marketing because there's a lot of people out there with bigger problems, and I don't want to be like that guy that's shoving my product down their throat. It's like, hey, look, I know you're not working right now, but buy my book. So, I kind of scaled back, but now I'm kind of getting back into it. It seems like there's a lot of online shopping going on. People are getting back to work, so now I don't feel as bad, and I want to kind of get back out in front of everybody now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, the price and Critical Blast says right here, Amazon has a deep discount right now. I mean, it is a really fair price. I mean, you can't knock it. And we do have so tell us about Callie and Jean.
So Callie and Jean are Cody's 2 best friends. Jean is a child prodigy. He's in high school. He's 12 years old, and he is like way genius level. And he gets diplomas as a hobby, and he's kind of like the brains behind he's the brains behind Cody's costume, his outfit, his gadgets, and the cast is very diverse. Jean is a young African American. Callie is an immigrant, and there's actually a scene where the school bully calls her out on that, and it's a pretty intense scene, but it's there. She's kind of like that go-between where Cody doesn't always understand what Jean's saying. Callie is able to kind of translate for the 2 of them.
Mm-hmm. Very cool, man. And Frank, I've been talking his ear off. I mean, please.
Yeah. No, it's the questions you're asking. I would, one of the things that, for our crowdfunding fans, they talk about you almost have to take a year in advance before you actually get together with a project. Did that take you that long to get to October 31st, 2019 to get your book done?
It was pretty close to a year. From the time that we had the conversation about publishing the book to release date, it was pretty close to a year. There was a lot of things that I still had to put together. And again, like I said, my editor, RJ Carter, was very detail oriented, and he caught a lot of stuff. And he's like, hey, you can't do this. This has to be a certain way. Otherwise, people aren't going to believe it, even though it's fiction. But he was also very open-minded about some of the plot devices that I had that I wanted to keep in place, because while it didn't seem right, it's true to the character. And but between the edits, the back and forths, the hey, did you mean this? Give me another paragraph here. Like, there was a lot of build up to it, and it just seemed like it would never end. But when we finally got there, it was exciting.
Did you ever get to a point where he said to you, hey, I want you to take this out, and you're like, wait, stop, let me tell you a little bit about why I want to keep that in for future references? Like you said, there's little things that are going to come down the road that are just briefly mentioned.
Yeah, there wasn't anything that was like a foreshadowing moment that he questioned. Really, there's a section of the book, there's a sequence of events. It just hits one right after another, and he kind of questioned that. He's like, wait a minute, okay, so Cody's brother shows up, this happens, then this happens, then this happens, and he's not questioning any of it. There's no pause in the action. Like, why isn't he wondering what's going on? And that takes me back to his character. He's very ADHD in a sense that he just follows the trail. And as the world moves around him, he is very reactionary, and he doesn't think about it because that keeps his focus. When things get busy, I don't know if you know somebody who's ADHD or somebody who's autistic. Like, when the world gets busy, sometimes it helps them focus more. And that's kind of where Cody's is at. So that was something that we kind of had a back and forth on, and I was able to keep it in there.
Now it seems like from what you've talked about, his universe is kind of school, home area, like very small, very much like a young adult, where it's like, here's your bubble and this is how far you can go. Because of his, situation, will it expand? Is that too much for him? Or is there, the Reese's Pieces is sending them that way, and he's gonna just keep following them, or friends. Well, it was both. It was Reese's Pieces and friends. So.
Yeah, there was it's like you're following that trail of Reese's. There's a Skittle. You pick it up. You keep going. You don't even question why a Skittle's there. But
where are the M&Ms? Where are the M&Ms?
Oh, that's so vanilla.
No, they're chocolate.
So yeah, his world expands pretty quickly in this book. Once the ball starts rolling downhill and he starts to realize that, wow, I really have a gift here. It's like the world just blows up. It expands tremendously, and he ends up finding himself in a harbor. He ends up finding himself downtown, way out of his element in this international bank. Like, the world opens up very quickly once he gets past that I have a gift moment.
Very cool, man. This is awesome. I got my book. It's coming Thursday.
Excellent.
Looking forward to reading it. And I'll read it, and Frank Frank and I are only about 15 minutes apart, so I'll read it. I'll let over to him to read it, and we'll do a review.
Here to read it, We
can read it together. We can read it together.
If your wife gives you a hard time about spending $10 on a book, just tell her that's like 2 trips to Five Below.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where I would buy candy, because that's where I go to get my candy.
Yes,
right. He's gonna go get his Skittles.
It's the only way I can get, without ordering them on Amazon. It's the only way I can get my Crybaby gumballs. I love freaking sour stuff, man. Crybaby gumballs and Big League Chew.
Oh
my God! Don't get me started on that.
Big League Chew, but no M&Ms.
That's a Little Leaguer's candy right there.
So good, so good. But hey, Steven, thank you so much for coming on the show. This book looks great, sounds great. You know, anyone out there, you know, hey, you know, let's help spread the word about Bulletproof Origins. Get it out there again. You know, share the Amazon link on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, whatever you're using. Spread the word. I mean, it's $10. You know, to get this book, and you know, a lot of us help support the crowdfunding stuff. I mean, hey, you know, if you have Amazon Prime, you're gonna get this thing in 2 days. You know, you don't have to wait. Get yourself a good book to read. Enjoy it. Let us know in the comments below of this episode what you thought about it if you did purchase it, and we'll send that along to Steven and the team over at Critical Blast. And you know, hey man, great luck with this. Is there an ETA, a drop date on book 2?
There's no ETA yet on book 2, but I'd certainly like to have it ready. Like, I'd like to have the manuscript finished. Like I said, I got a lot of the stuff plotted out, but I got to build it. And so I'd like to have the manuscript finished in the next couple months. Fantastic. And then after that, it's just the process of going through the formatting and the editing and all that.
Awesome, man. Well, keep us in the loop of everything. You got our contact now. Once you're on the show, you're part of the POPXP Crowdfunding Comics family. And, you know, I'm more than happy to have you on with any new work you have going on, or any other creators that you may know that need to help, you know, with, you know, we like to do our signal boosts and really push things. So again, thank you so much for coming on the show. Very excited about this, to get this book. And yeah, man, it was a blast talking to you.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, it was a great time. Thank you for having me on.
You got it. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, man. That's cool, dude. I could use a good book to read, man. You know, I have nothing to read, so I'm pretty excited besides like comic books.
You know what will also help? If you had a inflatable pool that you can read in.
And I can float in the pool.
Yeah. If anyone saw when Nile bought the book, it shows underneath like.
Oh yeah, did you see all the stuff under there? I do not own an inflatable pool, by the way, but I was looking for parts for someone. We'll keep their name unknown, but I was trying to fix someone's inflatable pool. Yeah. But anyway, speaking of inflatable pools, let's talk about comics. So that we are here now. We are here for our third and final guest tonight. So without further ado, let's please introduce Mr. Jason Martin to the show. Jason, welcome.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, we're happy to have you, man. This is great. You know, we're familiar with some of your work, so it's cool that you now have an active campaign that we can finally get you on to check out. But first and foremost, if you've watched the show, you know we need to know your origin story, man. How did you get into comics and what you're doing today?
Well, it all started with a little movie called Star Wars, and
I love Star Trek.
Comics. yeah. The other Star movie. The Marvel Comics adaptations. I was just learning how to draw, so I took those home and traced every panel of Stormtroopers and Darth Vader till the pages fell out. You know, and so I just started picking up comics off the spinner rack then, and then. Once comic shops came along, followed the 80s indie stuff. And I kind of fell out of comics in high school and then got back into them 10 years later and started going back to creating comics like I had been doing as a teenager. And self-published my own comic in 2005, starting in 2005. And I've been working in comics since then.
Oh, fantastic. And here, one of our great moderators, who's a true brain of all things pop culture, says, Jason Martin, we are huge fans of Vampblade. Katie is the bomb.
Awesome. Yeah, I created and write Vampblade. We're going on season 4 of that. So we're up to, I think, actually season 4, issue 9 was just out today. I think that's issue 46. So yeah, awesome. We're coming up on the big 50th issue. It's bittersweet because it's a monthly comic that's going to reach 50 issues, but we're going to end it with that issue. So, but it's going to go out with a bang.
Nice. And then our first guest tonight, Mr. Justin Dutton, that says Swiss Army Woman was amazing.
Oh,
That-
awesome.
That's actually where I first saw your work, was when you had that up with the crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah, I did a Kickstarter for that earlier this year. I ran that in February, and it did really well. I was really, really happy. And then so I had been hoping to return to Princess Star Thief, which I had originally done a Kickstarter on for a few years ago, and now I'm live with that.
Mm-hmm. And I know you were very generous in sending us a couple PDFs later this evening that we received. I know Frank actually had a chance to go through some of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think to send that off the bat, so I didn't know if you
Oh, no worries. No worries. But Frank was saying it's some amazing stuff that you had sent over.
Yeah, definitely. What, for this comic, what made you decide on the artist?
You mean for Princess Star Thief?
Yeah, for Princess Star Thief.
Well, I've worked with Winston. It's Winston Young who's doing the art on Princess Star Thief right now. I've worked with Winston. He launched Vampblade with me at Action Lab Danger Zone. And he's been the artist on that book off and on since we launched. And then I've worked with him on other titles. We have all set in the same universe. We call it the Danger Doll universe. He worked with me on the Danger Doll Squad, which is a crossover series with Vampblade, Zombie Tramp, and Dollface. And then we did a spin-off of that called Amalgama, which mashed up the three characters together. And he's been the artist on that.
All right. And I will say your description of it is pretty accurate. Because you say in it, it's Star Wars meets Tomb Raider by way of Aeon Flux. and I will say, like, when I read it, I definitely felt Aeon Flux, like huge part of that.
Awesome.
And if anyone's ever seen like the cartoon series,
yeah,
like it definitely feels that way, so it was really cool to I'm literally looking at the description right now and didn't see that description until after I read it. So I was like, I'm going to ask him if this played a part in it. And, it definitely felt like it.
Yeah. So Aeon Flux, was on MTV Liquid Television in the early 90s. It was animated or created by Peter Chung. And I just absolutely loved his style. And I love the cartoon, but I also loved his style. I was a huge comic fan growing up, but I also at comic shops was able to find an obscure manga or some heavy metal translations of Mobius. Back then it was a lot harder to get international comics. So I always was drawn to the more animated style creators, books like Cerebus by Dave Sim, who was a cartoonist, by nature. And so I also loved animation and anime. And so, yeah, Peter Chung was a huge influence on me. And it's somewhat of an influence on the story here too.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Now, when you your first campaign, you actually said that this is a redux. So if you don't mind, talk to us a little bit about the first time that you.
Sure. And yeah, hopefully it's not too confusing. The situation is that I mentioned I had done a Kickstarter for this book originally 4 years ago. It was released in 2016. We did the first issue, and I was working with an artist, Salor. It was the first comic that he had done, and I intended to release the full series of the book, but for various circumstances, various reasons, we weren't able to continue, and so I needed to find another artist for the book. But in the meantime, I was managing 2 or 3 monthly books through Danger Zone, and writing on a couple books a month too. So it was a struggle to get it back up running again and to find an artist for it. But then with the pandemic and the shutdown of the comic industry, I said to Winston, hey, I'd love to partner with you on this book and give it another go. And so we decided to do that. And I was really struggling with whether to go ahead and roll straight into issue 2 or kind of do a soft reboot. And for a lot of reasons, I decided to reboot it. And so that's why it's called Redux. So it's actually pretty much the same story and plot of the original first issue, but now with Winston's art. And then it's the story is expanded and improved because I really felt like I shortchanged myself with the original story because it was 24 pages and I kind of crammed the ending in there and didn't get to even tease the bigger aspects of the concept. So we're going to kind of do it bigger and better this time.
Oh, right. Nice.
Now with the copy you sent us, is that a copy that anybody that goes for the digital version, are they going to receive that copy as well?
The copy I sent you today was the 2016 book. No, I don't. I haven't offered that digitally. The digital copies that you can get through the Kickstarter are for the new version, as well as the previous Kickstarter, Swiss Army Woman. I should say that both Princess Star Thief and Swiss Army Woman are the concepts aren't related, but they're part of the collection of concepts that I refer to as Pulp Girls. They're all similar twists on different genres. So yeah, you can get digitally either the new book or you can get both the Pulp Girls books that have been released so far. I do still have a few copies of that was another reason why I needed to do a new first issue, because if I didn't do a new first issue, I needed to reprint the original one. I'm just about out of stock on the original one. I've got a few copies still available, and you can pick up the original 2016 version as an add-on to the current Kickstarter.
Nice. Now, would you mind if I just scrolled through a couple pages of that 2016 version?
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
Because the art is.
I should warn people. Salor is an amazing artist, and he, his artwork in that book is fantastic.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up, what I loved about it.
Oh, damn Mendoza, I love him.
Especially at the end, you kind of show how you created this comic. There were just sketches, there was dialogue, ideas of what you were going to do. And to see that in the back of the book was really refreshing, and shows kind of how a comic is done, and that it isn't as easy as it looks.
Yeah, so it was. I figured for Kickstarter, to make it a little extra special. When you offer books on Kickstarter, they're generally a little bit more expensive than what you can get at the comic shop. For various reasons, but so I wanted to try and make the book extra special for that price. So we had for the Kickstarter edition, there was the backup section that you're showing there now with sketches from Salor and all sorts of behind the scenes stuff.
That's a really cool idea to add in a book, and it's funny because I mentioned this book a lot because it's probably one of the mainstream books I'm really enjoying, which is Strange Academy. But Scotty Young kind of did this at the end of that book, at least as far as the script's concerned, which not for nothing, for any independent creator out there, it's really cool to see this stuff because I don't think they understand some of the processes that are involved, especially if it's their first time, like, character development, actually your idea. How do you even expand on that little idea that sparks in your brain? So I think when creators like yourself, offer stuff like that, it really is, very helpful to guys and girls out there just trying to figure out how to even do it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I always liked back matter and issues and little insights. We did that with the first volume of Vampblade. We had a behind the scenes section, and in the Star Thief one there was a scripted page, and there was really a lot of material for Princess Star Thief because I had the luxury of working with Salor over a period of time before we launched, and it was his first comic, so he was doing lots of sketches and trying to figure out what style he wanted to draw it in. So there was a lot of material for that.
Yeah, and I mean, so in your current campaign, I mean, you've got some great, Salor. You got Bill McKay on here, who are a huge fan of Bill McKay. Edward Barn.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. We're good friends. We actually worked on his first comic together. Was my Night of the 80s Undead. It was a 80s zombie miniseries that we did a few years ago, and yeah, we became good friends, and he's done rather well for himself since then.
There he is, right there. His line work is so meticulous. If you guys aren't familiar with him, like if you follow his page on Facebook or Instagram or any of his stuff he's doing, his line work is so freaking meticulous. I remember when we were at Baltimore, me and him, we were having a beer with him and just chatting, and I was like, dude, your pencils are ridiculous. And he even said, he goes, my process is crazy, but his lines are just so clean. The shading he does, like the detail he does in his roughs is just freaking insane.
Yeah.
Man.
I always tell him, and we did, I'm a big fan of pencil art, and you mentioned his pencils. His pencils are amazing, and he puts, there's a spectrum that artists, go from some that are able to just bust something out instantly, and others who meticulously, craft something. And Bill's definitely on that end of the spectrum. But yeah, if you get a chance to see his pencils, they're just amazing. And he digitally cleans them up for the colors. And I always tell him, just get the colors, leave the pencils alone. They're amazing. But he prefers to have them cleaned up like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's a
even like his stuff before he digitally cleans it. I mean, like you're looking at this image right now, you see how like these lines, you see the details, the color in the nose, all that stuff. He does all that via like pencil. Like he adds those details into his pencil work, which is incredible. So it's like literally just taking a black and white and throwing some color on it. Such an incredible artist. And this cover here, I love this cover right here from Pun.
Yeah, Edward Pun, he's a friend that I've met. He's an artist out of Seattle, and I'm in Portland, Oregon, and so I would see him at the Seattle shows for years, and he's just a phenomenal artist. He works at video games, so he's done a couple different comic series, but he's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, all your covers are gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, here's the variant covers right here. Unfortunately, some are sold out. But, I mean, all your covers are gorgeous. The style of the book is really cool. I'm going to read what you sent over to us after the show tonight, for my wind down. And you're a very talented man in what you're putting together with all your books. I mean, how... for creators out there, just kind of like your tips and advice section right now. I mean, how is the journey? How has the evolved from when you first started crowdfunding and self-publishing your own stuff to where you are today?
Well, I think I mentioned my first book I self-published in 2005. I first started conventions in 2003. So it's evolved quite a bit since then. But crowdfunding came along 5-10 years ago, and it's really great that even more than conventions, you have an outlet directly to fans, that you can circumvent the direct comic book market, because as good as that is, it really is it kind of fails at getting new creators material in front of people because of the economics of comic shops and everything. They can't afford to put books on the racks, and so it's really difficult for independent creators to sell enough copies to sustain something, and get their stuff in front of people. So crowdfunding is perfect.
Now, for any, up and comers that are, creators that are starting to put their stuff together that want to hit the crowdfunding scene, if they watch this video recorded, when it goes into our library, I mean, what's the best advice you can give them, starting off their crowdfunding career?
Well, it's kind of like just best advice for comics. Just do it. Get out there and do it. Look around. Look for, same as if you were looking to get your book published, look for material that's similar to yours and see what those creators are doing. and see which ones are successful and which ones are more successful, and kind of look at the different things that they're doing. Now, I mean, the books that I do, they have variant covers, and that's something that allows you to generate more sales on, you know, overall. But, you know, you're not necessarily going to have something that's lends itself to that. So, you know, it's just figuring out what it is you're trying to do, and finding some other folks that are doing similar stuff. And, but you know, that's the beauty of it, is that anybody can do it. And you know, comic books, crowdfunding comic books are overall fairly successful. So if you figure some stuff out, you've got a good chance at hitting your goals.
Yeah, and what's good too is you also have add-ons here for people to, you know, explore all your other work.
If you can scroll up a little bit, there we go, right there.
Yeah, this
is awesome. You could get a Princess Star Thief action figure,
custom action figure, 3 3/4 inch. So yeah,
do you have like a version of it handy?
A lot of comic creators are like, oh, if we could only get action figures for our stuff, it'd be so cool. But yeah, so I thought, well, I don't collect action figures. I mean, I played with Star Wars figures as a kid, and I've got a few. I've started to. It's a slippery slope. Like I never got into Funkos, but I started picking up a couple of reaction figures, and now it's like, oh, I got to have this one and that one. But I just thought the concept, the character lend itself so much to a custom action figure. So I tried to figure something out. I ended up just taking. It was fortunate that Hasbro just did a retro re-release of the original Star Wars figure. So I just took a Princess Leia figure and did some custom paints on it. And so that is a mock-up card. I haven't set that up yet, but it will be like that. I do have the action figure. She doesn't have her eye on there yet, but.
Oh, nice.
So she's got the
what inspired you to create this character?
And then she's got the dark sword here. Oh, try to get that in front of the camera.
Oh, there you go.
But anyways, it was a sketch that I did. I'm an artist as well, and I like to draw fan art. And one time I just doodled a mashup of Princess Leia and Molotov cocktease from Venture Brothers. So basically I just took Princess Leia and put her in a white version of Molotov cocktease's outfit. And I thought, oh, you know, that's really cool. That would be a cool character. So that's where the idea was born. And it just, you know, I absolutely love Star Wars and sci-fi. A huge fan of the 1980 Flash Gordon film. It's one of my all-time favorites. So I just love campy sci-fi, and this character screamed that. So I knew I had to create a comic book for it.
Yeah. Now let's get into some of these add-ons, because there's so many cool books here. I mean, can you tell us, if you don't mind, running through a little bit about each series you have?
Sure. So yeah, that's the nice thing about having a library of work, is that you can have add-ons you can offer. You can always try and turn new people on to the stuff that you've done.
Hey, Pete.
So first of all, there's Swiss Army Woman. The other's Pulp Girls concept that I just did the Kickstarter for, and you can pick up the regular version or some of the variant covers for that. And that basically was similar to Star Thief, where I thought, oh, it'd be great to do a Cherry Darling comic book, the machine gun legged character from Planet Terror Grindhouse. And I'm like, well, I can just come up with my own. And she's got a Swiss Army knife for a leg. And so that's there's that. And then, like we already talked about, there's the original first issue of Princess Star Thief. And then we've got also, we mentioned Night of the 80s Undead, the series that I did with Bill. And it's really awesome with Bill's art, and just the total over-the-top zombie story is a lot of fun.
Bill did all the sequential art in it?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Covers and interiors. It was a 3-issue series.
Oh, wow. When was that published? When did that come out?
2015, I think.
Nice.
2000. Yeah, I think came out in 14 and was collected in 15.
Oh, that's sick.
But yeah, that's the premise is there's a big Hollywood party in 1986, and there's some teenagers next door that go to break in, but they don't realize it's ground zero for a commie Coke zombie outbreak.
Did you say Coke zombie outbreak?
Yeah, so the Russians have contaminated the Colombian supply of cocaine into LA, and they're trying to tear down America from within. And so Ground Zero is a Hollywood party full of all the 80s icons.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the teens have to survive. It's a real love letter to 80s horror movies and teen action movies and all that rolled into one.
Oh, incredible.
So gratuitous nudity happens in that, like any 80s movie, right?
Yeah. There's a scene with there's a particularly gratuitous scene with Charlie Sheen and Spuds McKenzie. Not really. It's kind of juxtaposed there. You got to check it out.
Yeah.
And then Super Real was the first series that I created and published. And that one I did it all myself, but there were 2 issues in the middle of the run where I had 2 special issues where I had guest artists, and that's what kind of led me down the path of collaborating and getting more into creating and writing and less laboring over artwork.
Oh, nice. So this is all your stuff here. Are these your covers?
Yeah, those are my covers.
Oh, fantastic.
So yeah, it was a 7-issue series. I'm sold out of the trade paperback that collected it, but I've got all the single issues, so you can pick up the whole series of that.
Oh, nice.
One self-contained story. 5 20-something signed $1 million contracts to get genetically enhanced for a reality show based on comic book superheroes, and the book follows them through the process.
That's incredible. That's going to be such a fun read.
Would sign up for that? What are the powers? Do they survive the enhancements? Do the producers survive them? It's very tongue-in-cheek.
I would do it
with comics, with superheroes and reality TV.
I would totally do that. If that came out, I would totally do that. Unless I got like some weird like thing where like, what's your power? I don't know. My hands turn into waffles.
Yeah. Well, with this, it's more mundane. I didn't go for laser vision or flight or anything. So they each get kind of one blasé enhancement, and together they have to work together as a team too. One has enhanced sight, one has enhanced hearing.
Awesome. And then Vamp Blade.
Yeah, that's the it's kind of a horror sci-fi series, and that's where we're talking about. We're coming up on issue 50 of that. There's been 10 volumes of that released so far, and we do that in seasons. So each year is a new season. So every 3 trades collects one season.
Oh, fantastic! And Danger Doll Squad.
Yeah, and that's we did two limited series of that, which crossed over the 3 characters from the Danger Doll universe.
Oh, very cool.
Zombie Tramp being the star of the Danger Doll universe.
Now, when did this get published?
Danger Doll Squad?
Yeah.
2017, 18, I think.
Oh, cool.
It all blurs together.
Yeah. I mean, you got so much. You got stretch goals unlocked here with the trading card. You got artwork series. I mean, you got some great stuff here, man.
Yeah, for the stretch goals, we've got a couple trading cards and a die cut sticker, and then there's been 2 new add-on covers that have been unlocked, and we're on the cusp of with stretch goal number 7, we'll unlock a 3rd add-on cover.
Fantastic. So you are currently now at, you have so much stuff here. I got to scroll up faster. So you have 7 days left to go. You have 220 backers, and you're currently just about to hit 13K. So if anyone out there, I mean, hey, let's help, send the signal boost out there, share it on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram. Let's see if we can get the next level unlocked and break that 15K mark, because Dude, this looks really cool. And, you know, going through the PDF and everything of just the other book that was done, I mean, I think what you guys are going to get is pretty incredible. And from what I know about Jason Martin and some of the other work he's done, I mean, I think you guys are going to be very pleased with what you see here. And I know Frank's a huge fan. You know, Frank's the one that actually introduced me to his work when he discovered it first on Kickstarter. You know, actually, I think it was before Swiss Army Girl, Frank, right? I think there was that. Whoa!
I think we talked a little bit about Vamp Blade.
Yes, that had to be it.
That's where.
Yeah, but everything looks great, man, and this is awesome. I mean, you've crushed your goal. I mean, you more than doubled it. And now let me ask you a question. So this is done. You fulfill. What's next? What's coming up next from Jason Martin?
More Star Thief, more Swiss Army Woman. The last few issues of Vamp Blade, and I've got other concepts that I'm working on. So hopefully you continue to have success with the Kickstarters and can build and release some more crazy, fun comics.
Awesome.
But yeah, definitely more of Princess Star Thief has done really well. So we'll be doing second issue of that in the future, and Swiss Army Woman as well.
Now, I know like all of our books are series of stuff we create for all of our wonderful fans out there. You know, they're kind of like our children. And it's always hard when someone asks you, hey, what's your favorite book? But do you have a series that's closest to your heart?
Yeah, it's tough to pick. I mean, right now, it's generally whatever I'm working on. I have a hard time. You know, I'm working on multiple things. It's hard for me to shift gears. I kind of get in the grain or the mode for one. So right now I'm really loving everything with Princess Star Thief. I've got another Pulp Girls concept that I haven't started yet. That's of all the concepts that I came up with is my favorite. But hopefully we'll get to that in the future.
Oh, fantastic, man. Well, hey, please keep us in the loop with everything that you're doing. Frank, you know, really tries to blast out, you know, campaigns that are going on, current things. So with the 7 days left, you know, we will continue through our channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We'll continue to share this campaign.
Awesome.
Hopefully we can help lead the good fight to get, you know, Princess Star Thief Redux to the 15K mark to unlock that stretch goal that you have there. And we encourage everyone else to do the same. If you can back it, check it out. So much great stuff from Jason Martin. And yeah, man, keep killing it, dude. We're looking forward to seeing some more books, some more works, and continue work on the series you have currently out.
All right. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, my friend. You got something, just reach out to us.
Will do. All
right. Before you go, sorry. Do you have, I know you do conventions and stuff, and with everything that's going on, are you doing any virtual cons?
Not yet. I mean, I'm signed up for the Comic-Con at home, but it's just a few existing items that I have that'll be available through that.
All right. And then last two, where can, you know, for someone that's like, hey, you know, I just want to buy a couple of the other books that you've done and check out some things, where can they go to buy your books? Do you have an online store or anything?
Yeah. If you go to my website, jasonmartinart.com, you can link to my store there. And you can also link to it through pulpgirls.com. So you can go to either of the websites and link to the stores. And then I also sell on eBay. You can link to my items there as well.
Awesome. And where can the fans and the viewers that are going to start exploring your work and collecting your work, where can they stay in touch with what you're doing via social media and such?
I'm on Twitter. I've got Facebook pages, and then on Instagram and Tumblr as well.
Oh, fantastic.
And you can link to all of that through my websites.
All right, perfect. And we'll add your website to the description of this show. So if anyone's curious, Frank will make sure that gets in there. So if you want to check his website and see what he has in his store, you're more than welcome to. So again, Jason, thank you for coming on the show. And we look forward to seeing what you have coming out in the future.
Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a great night, Jason. Thank you. All right, man. What, dude? 3 amazing guests tonight. But before we go, so everyone stick around. Come in closer. Thursday's kind of a cool show, and I'm gonna pull this up because we've never done this before. Again, we're gonna be doing something new on Thursday's show. And give me a second because I'm gonna pull it up here. This is actually regarding fan films, and Batman. It's a Batman fan film from a creator that Billy met back in 2003. And we were talking about this, and some of you may be familiar with this, some of you may not. But so there was a fan film back in 2003 that premiered at San Diego Comic-Con, and we're trying to get the director on for this film. And actually, if you go to Sci-Fi Wire, they have like a top 10 list, right? And this fan film out of all of them is still ranked in this list, and it's at number 2. And if you guys haven't seen Batman Dead End from 2003 from Sandy Colora, it's pretty cool. It has like a the Michael Keaton style Batman, like I'm gonna pop this up.
Yeah.
Because I just if you guys haven't seen it, I mean, we've never talked to anyone who's done a fan film before, right? So, I mean, this is pretty cool.
Murder and mayhem in Gotham City. Criminal mastermind the Joker has once again escaped from Arkham Asylum.
And I think it's gonna be neat, like picking his brain on how do you a fan film, how do you produce this? What is the goal of it? What inspires it? And it's cool because I've seen this before, and I didn't even know Billy knew this guy. Actually, I've known about this before I ever met Billy.
Of course we did. We know how much you love Batman.
I am Batman. In the sheets. I don't even know if that makes sense. For 2003 too, it's well produced. Yeah. And there's a scene that's just ridiculous. I love. Here it comes. Ready? Watch this. Just watch the cape. What?
Yeah.
What? Oh, it gives my goose pimples, Frank. Gives my goose pimples.
What's the matter, freak? Can't take a little joke?
I don't remember though if Batman talks. I think he does.
You're pathetic.
There he goes.
Oh, that's rich, coming from someone who runs around in the dark, wearing a cape and a mask.
Both wear masks.
Look at my face. This is who I am. My mask is permanent. You have a choice.
I think the dude is a good-looking Batman. I like the cowl design and everything.
You did this to me, and you condemned me to that asylum like some bastard child that you refused to take responsibility for. That's why you'll never kill me, Bats. You made me. Daddy.
Criminal scum like you made me. You're going back to Arkham.
What the? And we'll stop it right there.
Yeah.
We'll continue this Thursday night with Sandy live, talking his fan film and how this is. I mean, this is I think this is going to be some stuff, man. We're going to be reaching out to some of these fan film directors and stuff. Because, I mean, they're putting on some decent production. I mean, look at that Alien.
Yeah.
Like
that's not cheaply done.
I'm not going to Michael's and getting like cosplay foam and making that alien, just absolutely incredible. So that's what we have to look forward to this Thursday with Sandy Calera, discussing how he made his fan film, how he did it. And honestly, I mean, creators out there who do their own stuff in film, I mean, this may be some great great bit of tidbits for you. So anyways, Frank, another great Crowdfunding Comics episode.
Another great episode.
We'll see you guys on Thursday for an episode of Mainstream. We'll be talking to Sandy about his fan film. And again, we had 3 amazing guests tonight. In the description, please, check out their campaigns, share them, do what you can. And remember, guys, also, if you're new to this channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you know when we're going live and posting some more videos. We've got some reviews coming up that are going to be posted. We've got a lot of content. We have some new shows coming up. So we're looking forward to expanding and really giving this channel a lot more content for you all. So everyone have a great night. Enjoy whatever's left of this Tuesday, and we'll see you all Thursday.
Thank you, everyone.
Send us out, Frank. Send us out. All right, guys, have a good one.
All right.